Hi crafters, it's Chloe from Chloe's Creative Cards, and I've got another lovely project for you which was featured in our Box Kit magazine using our Christmas Build a Bouquet collection. So this was a bit of a mix and match project because we've actually used Christmas Build a Bouquet along with Gilded Christmas on this one. So you can see how you can create this lovely pearly gold project. So we will get started and I'll pop the overhead camera in so we can have a little look. Now, as always, all of the materials that I'm using are listed in that little description box below and they are also linked. So please do have a little look in there and you'll see all of the products that I'm using, and they are available from our website, which is www.chloescreativecards.co.uk. Okay then, we are going to get started. So this is going to be the project that we create. So to start with, we need to make our card base. So what I've done is taken an 8x8 white card blank, and we're going to be using our scalloped and pierced rectangle dies. So I'm taking the largest die and I'm just butting it up to the edge like that. And then I'm going to take a little bit of low tack tape and just tape this down into place like so, and I've overhung the die over the fold of the card. So if I flip this over, you'll see that that's not going to cut, so that'll mean that our card blank will open and close. So what we're going to do now is take our die cutting plates. So I'm using my Gemini machine. I'm going to send this through our die cutting machine. So let me just get everything a bit more lined up and straight. And we'll open out the machine and then we'll send this through. Then we'll grab that at the other side, give this all a little wiggle. There we go. And then you can see we've got our card base perfectly die cut out. Okay, so what we're going to do next is I've taken that exact same die and I have die cut it from a piece of quartz pearl card. So that'll then sit perfectly on the top. So we're going to do a little bit of glittering on this one. So the glitter that I'm going to use is our lovely Diamante Sparkle. So just grab that one off my trolley. Let me just grab it. Let me have a look. Got them all stacked up here. There we go. So Diamante Sparkle is a lovely kind of chrome silvery sparkle. It is absolutely beautiful. So we're going to take our scrap paper and we're going to take a chisel tip glue pen. I'm going to just drag that glue pen along the little scallops and then dunk that into our glitter. Like that. Do exactly the same again. Dunking that in. There we go. And then we're going to go along this edge. Dunk that in. And then we'll take that out. And we're going to stick this down just onto our base card. So we'll take our dry clear glue. Bit of glue onto there, and then we're going to stick that down into our card blank like so. Okay, so you can see how that's starting to come together. So what I've then done is take one of our lovely papers from the Gilded Christmas paper pad, and I've used the second die in, which is this one here, and die cut that out. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of that quartz pearl paper and we're going to stick this onto here and just mat it up a little bit, just so it gives a little bit of kind of depth between the card blank and the paper. Actually, I wonder if I use, debating whether to use a little bit of white instead, just so you maybe see the difference a little bit more, but we'll go with the paper. That's fine. So a little bit of glue on the back. So again, you can use paper or card. Just looking and thinking, have I got myself some paper? I'm going to use card actually on mine, and I'll tell you why, because I think I've given myself only this one sheet of paper to do my flowers. So we'll pop that to one side, and then we'll grab this in and just stick that down, and we just want to leave a little border. So what we'll then do is take our trimmer and just trim that down just a little bit like that. So then we've just got a very fine border going around the edge there. And then we'll stick that onto our card using some foam pads. I'll grab my foam pads in from over here. So just a few foam pads onto the back of here. We'll get that nicely kind of layered up. One more there. You can just quickly take the backs away from there. And then we'll stick that down onto our base card like that. Okay, and then next up we've got a little piece of quartz pearl card which I've trimmed down to fit in the centre. Okay, and what we're going to do is take this and run it through our embossing folder. So this is the Sparkling Stars one that I'm using. So this is a standard 2D embossing folder. So we're going to just use our plates and send that through the Gemini. If it wants to go through, there we go. There we go, it's got it there. I think sometimes when your plates get a little bit bent, it doesn't always sense that it's actually there. So we'll lift that out like this. And then we've got that lovely star embossed pattern onto there. So what we'll then do is we'll take a little bit of scrap paper, okay, and then we're going to go in with our chisel tip and our Diamante Sparkle glitter, and we're just going to drag along the edge like that. And dunk that into the glitter. Okay, so then we can see how beautiful that is then looking. So again, we'll flip that over and we'll pop some foam pads just onto the back. Like this. And then we're going to take the backs off the foam pads. And that's then going to get stuck onto my base card. So I've got a piece of crystal white pearl card now, and I've got my lovely Bouquet builder stamp already on my acrylic block. We're going to use some polished gold superfine embossing powder, and we're also going to use my little anti-static bag and clear embossing ink pad. So I've got a clear embossing ink pad and my anti-static bag here. So we're going to give this crystal white card a little dust over, and then we're going to take our stamp and we're going to ink it up. So lots of light tapping all over the image. We're then going to take that and place that down and press like this. And then we'll lift that off. And then we'll grab in our polished gold superfine embossing powder. Tap away any excess. And then we'll heat this up. So just using our heat tool to chase this powder. Like that, okay, and then we'll just give that a little second just to kind of cool off a little bit. Okay, and while that's chilling out, I'm going to take my little Happy Christmas stamp, which is from my tiny tag and sentiment design. I'm going to dust over the bottom of my card, and I'll just take a little acrylic block from over here. I'm going to ink up my little stamp, so again, lots of light tapping. Then we'll place that down and press, and then sprinkle over our polished gold embossing powder. And you can see what good quality stamps these are as well by how much detail's been picked up on that Happy Christmas. So if I then take my heat tool and heat this up, you can then see the detail on there. It's fab. So we're going to take our metal die set, and we're going to pop this just over the top like this. So tape that there. I'm going to tape that there. And then we're going to take our Happy Christmas. Tape it across the top. A little bit on the bottom as well. Okay, so we've got that all nicely taped, ready to go through our die cutting machine. So again, using my Gemini, so I've got my base plate, my metal shim, my plastic shim and my cutting plate. With my Gemini, it seems to have lost a little bit of pressure over time, which is why I put that metal shim in when we're cutting. So we'll just send that through our die cutting machine. And then we'll grab this at the other side. Give this a little wiggle. And there we go. There's one little point on my machine that just isn't cutting. So I'm going to pop that through again. It's not the dice, it's the same point in the roller every time. So I think it's just because it's been well used, my machine's lost a little bit of pressure. There we go, it's better. So then that's perfectly die cut out. So what we'll then do is we'll start to glitter this up. So I've got a couple of glitters here. So I've got Moonbeam, which we're going to do the holly leaves in, and I have got Dulce, which is a holographic gold, which we're going to use for some of the little accents. So I'll just do a few little bits to show you how to do this. So that tag's going to go to one side because we don't need that right now, and I'm going to move those bits out of my way as well. So we're going to take our Dries Clear PVA glue, and we're going to just pop a pin in the top of it because mine's got a little bit blocked. And then we're just going to take our glue and just add the glue like this. And then you can take your glitter, sprinkle that over the top, and then tap away any excess like that. And then that can go straight back into the jar. Okay, and then we're going to just use our glue and just infill the holly leaves like this. Just infill in those gaps. And then we're going to take our moonbeam. Yes, moonbeam. So I'm going to call it moon dust. I don't know why. Don't know why. So then we'll take our moonbeam and sprinkle that over the top as well. So I've got a bouquet that I've done that's already nice and dry. So I'll bring that one in to show you. So let me grab this one here. So that is then how it'll look when it's all nice and dry and you've got your glitter on there. So if I flip that over, I might just use a little bit of pin flare to stick this down onto my base card, because then of course if I don't get it in quite the right place, I've got that little bit of time to manoeuvre it round and move it. So we'll flip that over. So we're going to position it near the bottom like this, and then we can build our flowers up at the top. So to build up your flowers, you are going to need some, I've actually used card for these ones for something a bit different. So we're going to use some pearl card, and I'm going to take my little die first. So this is the smaller poinsettia one, and if you want you can layer up your card and cut more at once. I'm just going to do a couple of each to show you, because I have actually already got mine kind of, some of them die cut and glittered. So I'm going to take a little scrap of this crystal white as well, and I'm going to cut another one out from here. So I'm going to do the little Christmas rose from some crystal white. So you'll need 2 of those, and then for your poinsettias you're going to need 9 die cut out ready to go to stamp. And then what you need to do is take a double-sided adhesive sheet and pop that onto either some paper or some card, cover it, and then this is going to make it sticky, and that's going to mean that we can create our little glittery bases. So you're going to need to die cut 3 of those as well. Okay, so we'll run this through our die cutting machine like this. And then we'll grab this at the other side. Okay, give that a little wiggle. Give this one a little wiggle as well. Okay, and then we're going to take our little anti-static bag and dust over our poinsettia leaves, and we'll take our clear embossing ink pad along with the little stamp that coordinates with your die. So you can then ink that stamp up, and you can kind of hover over, position it down and press where you want it to be, and then we can lift that off. And then we can take our polished gold, super fine, and we can dunk this in, tap away any excess, and the same again, like that. Okay, and then we can take our heat tool and heat this up. There we go. And then for the Christmas rose, you get these little kind of weird dotty looking stamps on the stamp set. So what these have been designed for is you can dust the middle of that rose, then you can ink this up, stamp it roughly in the middle, lift away, cover this with your polished gold, and that then creates your little centre for your Christmas rose. You can give this a little heat up. There we go. So you can see how lovely that then looks. And then what we can also do is take our PVA glue and just go into the centre of the poinsettia and add some little dots. And then we can take our glitter, so this is a glass slipper, cover it, and then when that dries you'll get the gold and the quartz kind of creamy colour shining through. So fast forward, I've got 2 flowers that I've already made, and I'm going to show you how to make one up. And I am sorry, I did tell a lie, you'll only need 6 on the quartz to stamp onto, and 3 onto the double-sided adhesive sheet. I got a little bit confused there, I think. If you could have seen my face on camera, you'd you'd have understood I was trying to work it out in my head and I got very confused. So you only need to stamp 6 in total, and we're going to do 3 with the glittery bases. So this is just some quartz pearl paper, and we've just covered that with the double-sided adhesive sheet and die cut it out. We've peeled that backing off the double-sided adhesive and then covered it with that Dulce glitter. So we'll pop that back into the jar. Okay, and then we'll start to shape these. So to shape them, we've kind of just done a little kind of mini fold really down the middle. So there's not really too much to it. We just want to give it a little wiggle like that. And then we're going to stick these together. So just a little blob of glue in the middle. And then we can just work round, layering this up. And I'm just using my PVA glue with this as well. And then stick that there, maybe. So then you get a little bit of that glitter kind of shining through from underneath. And again, because we've used a wet glue, you've got that little bit of time to kind of manoeuvre it if it's not in the perfect place that you want it to be. And then we can take a little bit of glue gel onto the back of a sparkler and stick that on. And then this is where the fun starts to happen, because you can start to kind of build up your bouquet. So we're going to stick these on. So I'm going to pop one here. I'm going to pop one up here. And one over here. Okay. And then any little gaps that we've got, we can have a little look, and we can maybe add in some of the little Christmas roses. So I've got a medium, a small and a large that I've already made. And to shape these, you're just going to curl them like that between your finger and thumb. And it just gives a little bit of dimension to them. So I'm going to stick a large one about there. I think I'll stick... The thing is, you can do these and you'll never ever make 2 exactly the same. I think that needs to pull in just a fraction. One can go there, and a little bit of glue onto here, like that. Okay, and then one more just at the top, maybe here. Yeah, that's quite nice there. Could even add one more in if we wanted over there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it at this. And then on your stamp set, you'll get... already done these because they needed to be dry to stick in. So on the stamp, you've got this little kind of beaded design, and this is fab because what you can do is stamp and emboss it onto some heat resistant acetate and then add your little pearls onto it, and then these make really nice little kind of twigs that you can just tuck in behind the flowers, which then makes them look really, really pretty. So you can just take these, and again, I like to use my 3D glue gel when I'm doing this because I feel like you can manoeuvre it around a little bit and kind of tuck them in where you want them to go. So that's then looking like that. Then I'm going to put the Happy Christmas just to the side. Okay, so I'll take a little bit of a foam pad, stick that on with this. And then we're going to make a bow to go on it. So Happy Christmas is going to go there. And then for the bow, I'm just going to use one part of the double bow die. So what I've done, it's not a double bow die, it's a 3D bow. So I've taken the 3D bow die and I've die cut it from some quartz pearl paper that we've covered with a double-sided adhesive sheet. Now I've shown you this on lots of the videos. So you pop your die on the top, run it through your die cutting machine, and because we've used that double-sided adhesive sheet, it then makes the bow sticky. So rather than use both this time that you die cut out, I'm just going to use the one, and I'm going to use the little ribbons as well. So we're going to glitter this up. So I'll pop that over there, and then pop this one in here. Now I think on the original card we'd used champagne shimmer glitter, which has sold out. So we've used Dulce today in the YouTube. But this is the thing, and this is what I like about the YouTube channel. We can show you that you can take inspiration from our projects but you can then put your own spin on it. Or maybe if you haven't got all of the glitters, you can use some of the ones that you've got at home as well. And this is what crafting's all about, kind of mixing and matching your supplies and coming up with something unique and different. So we're going to take that Dulce Gillette glitter and we're going to cover our bow with it. And we're going to do the same with this one here. And dunk this as well. There we go. And then that glitter is going to go straight back into the jar. Okay, and then I'm going to take my glue gun and make up my bow. So to do that, I'm going to curl the sides in again. Little splodge of glue just in the centre. And then we're going to stick that down there and stick this one here. And we'll bring our card in. We'll get this stuck together. So we're going to pop a little blob of glue just in the middle. And then we'll put one of the little ribbons there with the other one coming off here. A little bit of glue onto there, like that. And then we'll take a little bit of glue just onto the back of the sparkler. I'll just stick that down there. Glue on my finger there. Everyone keeps saying I need to get some of those little finger protectors from Amazon, which is a good idea actually, because I do tend to end up with quite a few burns on my fingers. So then we can pop a few little jewels. These are just our little self-adhesive sparkles, and I think these little finishing touches sometimes get a little bit overlooked, but we can just dot a few of these about in the background behind our bouquet, and that would then be our lovely finished project. So that is a little mix between the Christmas Build a Bouquet collection and Gilded Christmas. So this is the lovely original, so you can see I've arranged the flowers a little bit different, and then this is the one that we've just created. So I really hope that you have enjoyed today's video. As always, all of the products are available to shop on our website at www.chloescreativecards.co.uk, and everything that I've been using is listed in the description below. So please do have a little look in there, and I hope to see you again very soon. Thank you for joining me. Bye.